We have road trip to Michigan to visit a dear friend of ours who is currently attending art school here. He is nearing graduation and his senior exhibition is open, so we've traveled to see what he's been working on these past few years. I am rather looking forward to exploring what he and others have created and sharing it with you guys. This morning though, we are actually heading to an art market here. From what I know, the artists will be selling their work directly from their studio, so it should make for a lovely experience.
I don't know, I kept telling people, but no one agreed with it, but my favorite is this.
You're like the exhibition one.
The first stop on our visit was Sanjay's studio. Alongside his paintings, he was selling some incense holders and postcards.
Once you buy it, how did you buy it?
From there, we explored studios across a variety of departments. We wandered through departments devoted to metalwork, painting, sculpture, fibers, and ceramics, each one offering a glimpse into the creative process behind the pieces and the personalities shaping them. Hello, we have just returned from the art market. I was utterly charmed by the artists and their work, so I will share a few of the treasures that we found and we'll take home with us. First, we got these snazzy postcards. One features an elegant deer and the other some whimsy little guys. We also picked up 2 incense holders, so I imagine we may use them primarily for displaying dried flowers. Next, I found a ring, and I was rather drawn to the texture and just weight of it. We also actually got another large piece to display in our home. It's pretty large, so kind of hard to show, but it's one of Sanjay's pieces. We actually have several of Sanjay's pieces around our home. I may try to display them here. One aspect that I think draws us to his work is that he embraces a sort of wonder and simplicity. He draws from the lyricism of traditional Korean art and uses accessible materials and minimalist forms to create works that really carry a sort of quiet joy and are spacious in spirit. After a short rest, we made our way to the senior exhibition, a showcase of works marking the culmination of 2 years of dedicated studio practice by a diverse group of graduating artists. The gallery was filled with a multitude of pieces, a testament to the care and creativity poured into their craft. This morning we ventured out for a quiet day outdoors, wandering the grounds of Cranbrook Academy and the surrounding estate. The school itself unfolds a meticulously composed environment, where each detail speaks to a vision of harmony between form and function. As well, every wooden door across the campus notably bears a distinct design, as each one is a testament to the principle of Gesamtkunstwerk, the total work of art. Underestimated their ability.
Serious face palm super heavy.
So I came to the common area to do a bit of studying, and the radiator is on, and it's rather warm and cozy, and I'm about inches away from falling asleep. I'm not sure how productive I will be able to be here. It's evening now, and I've brought along a few sheets of paper as I intend to write to some of my pen pals whilst I'm here. I find I'm rather fond of communicating this way, and I think there's a steadiness to it that suits me. Actually, most days recently, I am surrounded by letters, or collections of letters and diaries, partly because of my work in the archives, but also I simply enjoy it. I'm rather fascinated about reading words that were not intended for an audience, and I think it also helps slow me down. And yes, in an age of instant communication, I do think it's fair to wonder what value there is in writing letters and sending them through the post, though I think there's something to be said for the pace of it. The time it takes and the gaps in between, it isn't urgent, it's never urgent, and perhaps that's precisely an aspect of the value. Mostly finish my letters, not entirely, though I will send them off once we get back home in a few days. But for now, it's a bit late, so I'm off to bed. Until tomorrow. I have returned to walking the grounds, though alone this time, as I wanted space to sort of linger and ponder. Being here has allowed opportunities not merely to interact with completed works, but also to be in spaces of process and making. And I've been dwelling on that sort of liminal space between creation and intention, where perhaps we surrender to process rather than attempt to command it. And this space has allowed me a moment to reflect on the relationship between thought and embodied knowledge. One aspect I found apparent is how creation sort of resists the modern impulse toward efficiency. Rather than attempting to carry out a predetermined plan, creating allows one space to interact with a variety of aspects, such as the materials, space, time, and even the body and the land. And for the seasoned creator, I'm finding it rather interesting as it appears as though they move in a way that their minds may not be able to fully articulate. It's like a sort of somatic knowledge that arises from muscle memory and tactile relationship. And I think this stands in contrast with the sort of contemporary prevalence of utilitarian pragmatism, in that we're moving towards a place where we are only looking at the final product rather than considering the process of creating. For instance, I'm writing a paper, a sort of small paper at the moment, on, I suppose, the relationship between generative AI and creating, and so it's rather been on my mind. Perhaps I'll ramble a bit here. As we've come accustomed to valuing only the final product, and also the sort of accessibility of now generative AI, what are we losing in the process of creation? Could we even consider something art if no one has labored for it? And I don't mean labor in the sense of just physical exertion, but rather a sort of, I suppose, embodied dialogue with the materials, which I think is fundamental to art making. When AI is able to generate images within seconds, it's sort of bypassing years of somatic learning, as well as tactile negotiations with materials. Even our bodies know things that the analytical mind cannot entirely grasp, such as whenever we feel a texture that is rather unique and cannot put words to it. This somatic knowledge does not merely replace intellectual knowledge, but rather it helps sort of complete it and create a sort of holistic approach, which is rather essential in creating. And perhaps these are all simply aspects of what distinguishes production from art making, as we enter into a sort of relationship with materials and acknowledge their agency and particularities. And to create something is not to impose will upon passive matter, but to enter into a sort of conversation. Sanjay has a pretty snazzy CD collection, so for our final night, we're going to have a jam session.